Today I've got Marty Parker from Unicom Consulting with me on this call, and
Did
we're gonna. Oh, go ahead, Marty. Say hello.
I said hello. Hi, Dave.
We're going to talk a little bit about Dialpad's announcement. For those of you that don't know, Dialpad, a UCAS company, has announced a free UCAS offer. To my knowledge, I think it's the first UCAS offer that's free with a PSTN plan. This kind of conversation came up a long time ago when Skype was building momentum, maybe about 5, 6 years ago. There's a lot of talk about. I think Marty, I don't know if you coined the term. I doubt you did, but I heard it from you first. This race to the bottom, race to zero, and we were all wondering if every business was going to be on Skype or not. Well, that didn't quite pan out, but UCAS has certainly panned out. UCAS is a predominant way for businesses to communicate. But to my knowledge, this is the first UCAS offer with a real PSTN phone number and PSTN service that's free. So just a quick recap on the plan. You get 100 outbound minutes per month. You get one phone number and up to 5 extensions on that number. And you have unlimited, wait a minute, 100 outbound minutes per month.
Yeah, well, unlimited inbound.
Yeah,
Inbound.
unlimited inbound. Thank you. I got my directions confused
Right,
there.
right. No,
Uh,
inbound. Call me as much as you want, but I don't get many outbound minutes.
yeah, and it's got the Dialpad integrations with Google available, and it's also got a soft phone available or soft client available. I'm not sure if it's actually
Yeah, and
got
I
soft.
would I would add there that soft client on your smartphone, that's where you get your outbound minutes.
Okay.
Sorry, because you can make this, basically my smartphone has an unlimited plan. I mean, if you don't have an unlimited plan, get a different carrier.
Well, so it's interesting. Okay, so that's the plan. When I heard this plan, the first thing I thought of was Marty, because I mentioned I always associate the race to zero with Marty. So Marty, you've been expecting this for a long time. It probably took longer than you expected. What are your thoughts on this announcement? Let's kick it off there.
Well, I mean, I also will say you're the person that taught me about the word freemium. And this is a classic model of freemium because, as you pointed out, they can go up to 5 extensions, but beyond that, they've got to buy the whole plan. I love that the plan has basically everything you need. I mean, it's got peer-to-peer audio, peer-to-peer video. It's got SMS, inbound and outbound, connected to your account, so you don't have to jump out into your phone SMS. You can work directly. And it's got audio, video sharing, conferencing. So it's got the whole kit
Yeah.
and a mobile device. So I think that what they've done, the reason that you could predict the race to zero was because all the elements of a communications experience were being bought by the user for other reasons. So they were buying internet connections, Wi-Fi in their home. They were going to places that have free Wi-Fi. They had a Wi-Fi hotspot in their smartphone. They were buying their smartphone for all the other reasons and for the applications. They were buying a PC or a tablet if that's what you want to use. So all of the tools for communications, business communications, were being owned by the user. And now somebody just had to put the software layer there. And I think this is a classic, given that Dialpad has really tight integration with Google. As you said, they're playing into that market, which is the other place that we're getting a race to the bottom, because Microsoft, IBM, Cisco wishes they could, and Google wishes they could make communications free as part of their business apps suite or part of their collaboration suite, competing with the likes of, say, Slack, Salesforce.com with Chatter. And so basically what we've known as $1,000 per user, 5-year cost of ownership, PBX, it's going away.
Going away fast. So yeah, you mentioned the freemium there. So there's a couple different approaches to freemium. One approach is a free core service, and then you purchase add-ons. And then there's this approach, which is really more of a free complete service that's very limited in scalability. And when you outgrow it, you purchase everything new. And so like the Google G Suite's kind of well, at least it used to be like that, where basically you might have 25 users on the original Google plan that was free, but that 26 user wasn't $5 or $6 a month. It was, that all 26 users had to pay, and that's
Right.
kind of what this is about. This 5 user. So let me get to, you've taken a look at some of the. The first question is, do you think this is a legitimate offer, or is it more of a bait and switch? Look at our website, and while you're here, buy something else. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's really legitimate, and I think that there are 3 or 4 segments that'll just eat this up. So, the millennials, the kids coming out of college wanting to have their small business on the side will eat it up, but it'll get eaten up in other places too. Imagine, we used to think about having one office, and we went to the office and worked, and then we went home and didn't have an office. Now I'm going to have an office for my soccer league. I'm going to have an office for my chess club. I'm going to have an office for my church group. Why not? So I can start having these small communities. I got it. It's one inbound number and only 5 extensions, but that might be enough for these kinds of offices. And there's some other segments. I think that people who are living in retirement and keep seeing the universal service fees added onto their phone bills some of them are savvy enough. They have a smartphone for sure because their kids taught them to use it, and the kids will teach them how to use this. So I think just like the kids taught certain generations how to use Skype, they're going to teach them how to use this. So I think this has some really solid niches.
You compared it to the phone bill there, and I for years the UCaaS companies have been competing with traditional phone service, and now of course the UCaaS companies are competing with each other. I'm not sure this is going to go against the UCaaS offers or the phone business as much. Certainly it will, but I think it's going to be more at the companies that don't have phones. I think a lot of, particularly smaller business, this is definitely a small business offer because it backs us at 5. A lot of small businesses with 3 or 4 people only have a mobile phones, only use their mobile phones.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard to argue, don't get this service if that's the case, because it doesn't cost anything.
Well, that's right. And that one inbound number is just enough, because that one inbound number can be the one on my website or the one on the business card. And it doesn't walk away if an employee leaves, the number doesn't walk away with their mobile phone.
Now, obviously, it's a very restrictive plan. We've talked about the number of minutes, and there's a few other restrictions you can read through a press release. Did any restrictions jump out at you that you think are should be highlighted?
Well, I mean, there would be a showstopper. That's why I think not, and that's why I mentioned the mobile phone. That if I'm hooked up if I've got the app on my mobile phone, then I'm going to find myself, if I have a directory on my phone and I can click here to make an outbound call from my phone, then those minutes aren't going to get charged.
Yeah.
They're not going to get charged against Dialpad.
The one restriction I think that you need to watch out for, and it's kind of in the small print, actually in the headlines, is the elimination of the death phone. The death of the desk phone. I said that wrong.
Yeah. Right.
But they're marketing this as a soft number only type of solution.
Right.
However, I will say that I've talked to Dialpad about this. People are free to buy a SIP phone on Amazon or wherever, and configure it to the service. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
you actually can connect a desk phone to it, but you have to buy it separately, and there's of course, limited support in this option. So
Right. And those people, there's also the world of, I've talked about this with many of our clients who have a lot of local offices. There are also some appliances that are as cheap as a SIP phone that give you a speakerphone and a docking pad, a docking port, so I can be charging my phone, speakerphone, headset, be able to do what a phone does, except I'm doing it with my smartphone.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Okay, so we've covered some of the restrictions. We've already kind of covered the benefits, but I was going to ask you about the benefits of the plan. I will say that there's one benefit that is again kind of buried in there. The integration with Uber Conference, which of course is the same
Yes.
company as Dialpad, those minutes don't count. And so when you dial into Uber Conference,
Oh,
it's not an
really?
outbound; it's a free call. So if
Yeah.
you you might say, "Oh, I can't possibly live on 100 minutes of call of a month of calls." And 100 minutes, by the way, it's total for all 5 users.
Yeah.
But if you happen to be using a lot of conference minutes, maybe you can.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. So, how do you think competitors will respond to this? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that so let's walk through some categories of competitors. So the PBX guys, uh, they're going to say, it's the innovator's dilemma writ large. Clayton Christensen talks about how the steel industry got ripped apart. And it started when these little tiny steel mills started making rebar. And the big steel companies said, well, rebar is not very profitable anyway. So they're going to say, oh, these small businesses don't matter to us, but it's going to start eating their business from the bottom. But they can't respond at the top. So that's out of the picture. The ones that will need to respond are those who are trying to use the freemium model themselves to capture communication. So Cisco Spark, Microsoft Office 365, which isn't totally free, but it's bundled with enough stuff that for $5 per user you can get a home account, including your Office
Yeah, but these
software.
don't have PST. These aren't calling
No, there's
plans.
no PSTN. I agree with that. No. So, but the point is, the thing that's why this PSTN number is so important, and this SMS integration is so important, is that people like Spark and Office 365 and you know Google Hangouts, they're trying to attract these starter businesses. And so I would say that Dialpad's done a really smart thing of differentiation. So those people are going to rush to try to get some kind of PSTN capability in there. And then the last category is the other side of it is the communication platform as a service. So Twilio, Nexmo, those people are excited to be building little tiny apps for little tiny departments and little tiny businesses. And so they see this as a threat because they don't have a PBX app per se without going to the UCAS offer, which is now at least $10 per user per month, if not more. But I just don't know if we'll see a starter kit. Microsoft, for example, has PSTN capability, but they charge for it. They could offer a starter kit like this. They could start bundling PSTN in there. I don't know if they will. So I think Dialpad probably will get themselves a 1 or 2 year run there, but they'll also find it. They're going to create a vacuum that will draft in some other competitors. So will Slack decide they need a PSTN minutes? Will Salesforce.com decide they need it? And will there be another startup who says, I can write that app just as cheaply and I'm going to make the minutes off of the advertising, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm not sure I agree with you on that. I think
Okay,
well,
good.
you're laughing because I disagree with you on so much, but it's always respectfully. But the
I know.
I think this is almost I look at the Ring Centrals or the Vonages, and first off, they do have what they call both of them have essentials plans, which are fairly low cost and more robust in terms of minutes and stuff, but they're not free. Um, and I wonder if if you're sitting there in their chair, you say let Dialpad have the less than five. That's not even our I think Dialpad might have increased their visibility dramatically with this. We're talking about them, but I'm not sure how much the other companies are going to respond. And the companies like Slack and stuff like that don't know a darn thing about PSTN, I can't imagine them trying to put together a PSTN offer that can compete in a free service. There's too many roads to cross there.
Well, no, yes or no. I mean, so just like Dialpad is offering tight integration to Google Apps. If I'm the vice president of biz development at Twilio, I've already called Dialpad and said, or I've already called Slack and said, let me fix this for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, they could through partnership. Yeah, that's true. No, I think Dialpad's going to get a lot more attention. You know, they're not in those top name brands that people talk about when they talk about UCAS. But you know, they've got a fairly decent, solid service. They've been growing. They've been getting investment. So this will probably give them. I'm thinking more marketing bang than revenue or business gain. But one leads to the other. You know, so hard to separate them. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And, they can't afford, let's see, I'm not sure how much marketing they can afford, but there may be some places that they can do a lot of easy stuff. I mean, if they could penetrate the local commercial real estate markets, the Commercial Real Estate Association of America, if there is such a thing, there probably is. Think about that. You can say, look, I can get you set up in this office for free for 5 people.
yeah. Yeah, that's a really good example because real estate, they're so mobile savvy anyway, right? So you get the inbound call and you call them back on your cell. You know, it's not a.
Well, I don't mean just the real estate offices. I mean the people that sell commercial real
Yeah.
estate.
Oh no, I mean yeah, the agents. You get the inbound call. It comes in a voicemail. You call them back, and yeah. Um,
Right.
okay. Well, I think it's an interesting development in our industry, and thank you for taking some time with me to discuss it, Marty.
Always a pleasure, Dave. I enjoy the back and forth. Thank you.